Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? So, I know today I mentioned that I was going to make my, what's a good car to buy new video. However, I was thinking about it, and there's really a lot of, as far as new cars, just, you can really do a lot of that research yourself. A lot of the used car things you can't. It's a lot harder, you find video reviews from, Car and Driver, Motor Channel, all of them. And Edmunds, Consumer Reports, all that. But as far as used cars go, it's not so hard and easy to find information. So I want to talk more about used cars. Anyway, but today instead I decided I'm going to talk about buying versus leasing, because I do think that's a new car tip that is not often so discussed, but it's definitely something people consider. And we have, at least my family, I haven't, I've only had 2 cars, but my family has actually bought and leased cars before, so I can talk to you guys a little bit about this, as I do have some experience in it. So, in case you guys were wondering, we actually leased a Hummer H3. It was around 07, 08. The reason we leased it was because, the gas prices were rising and rising back then, and we weren't sure quite, where the value of the car would go. And we were a little iffy about that. It was still yellow, it was not red. There was someone behind me though. Wow. He's quite a while behind me too. I don't know how he made that. But so we were kind of iffy, what the value of that would be. So we're like, I'm not so sure if buying is such a great idea. And since you do have the option to purchase it at the end anyway, we decided, well, we'll see what it is then. And we actually did end up buying it. Of course, by the time we returned, our Hummer was out of business already, and which is unfortunate. I really liked Hummer. I think they're a great brand. You can say whatever you want, but anyway, yeah. So that's what the car we leased, and it was kind of cool. It was a little different. I know that it's any of you guys who finance a car, you probably maybe get this if you lease the car. It's weird to make payments on something and then lose it at the end. It's a little different, but anyway, what leasing is, if you guys don't know, that's somewhat similar to renting. It's more of a long-term thing, usually 24 months, 36 months, sometimes 39 or 42. And what you do is you make your payments on the car, and then you use the car for a certain amount of time. Usually you have mileage of 10 to 12,000 per year, but that can vary on your leasing offers. And you get to use the car just like you bought it. It's a little different, compared to buying it new. Obviously, the main thing is after you make all your payments, like I said, you don't keep the car. If you finance a car, you make all your payments, and then the car is yours. So that's the main difference there. Some advantages to it. Let's go over the first one. Like with the Hummer, if for instance, look at the value of those, they really went down. The gas prices have been up. The company went out. That wasn't great for it. Now some of that, you could argue, well, if the company goes out of business, they can raise the value because they're no longer making some. But as far as most of the H3s go, they have gone down. I have noticed that the 08s, the new generation of H2s have gone. Those are definitely still very, very high. But I think the H2 in general it is a nicer car. We're actually going to lease the H2, but we already bought our Suburban and a Navigator just a couple of months before, so we're like, yeah, this makes so much sense. So we just got a smaller one, and then we got rid of that and we got this, which I'm glad we did. I do like this car a lot more. Hence why I bought it. Yeah. So yes, back to our advantages. So advantages, you don't have to worry anything. You don't have to worry anything. You don't have to worry about any resale values whatsoever. You take the car, you make your payments, you give it back to them, and that's it. It makes it nice, as far as having to, worry about what's happening with the car's value, putting all these miles on it. I can't do that, that's not good for it, So, there's some advantages there. As far as disadvantages, of course, you're not going to keep it, that's the issue. You are limited to how many miles you can drive, you gotta remember that. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think there's any lease with it. Maybe there is an unlimited mile lease, but I'm not sure if there is. If there is, it's going to be very expensive for sure. Yeah, you are limited to how many miles you can drive. Usually it's 10 to 15,000 around there, I believe. I think we had around 12. I think we had 12,000. So you are limited to how many miles you can drive. If you go over that, you have to pay a certain price. 25 cents to maybe $1 or $2 per mile, depending on what the car is. And that, if you do lots of driving, leasing isn't always the best idea. Another advantage to it, definitely didn't mention, is it's something similar with buying a new car. All your warranties in check. Usually the lease lasts as long as the warranty does. most warranties now are at least 3 years, 36,000 miles. Some of them, Kias, they're 10-year, 100,000 miles, and there's no lease that lasts that long. So as far as all your warranty stuff, you're usually covered by that, which is nice. And of course, if your car is a maintenance things like BMW, Mini, you're covered by that as well. So that's nice. There's usually not as much payment. Your costs are kept down in that sense. Now, as far as costs go and prices go, this leasing is very complicated. There's no way to determine what the price of a lease of car is. Well, there is, obviously. That's how the companies get it. As far as for you, it's hard to find. There's no comparison in there, If you have a car that's $36,000, at, let's say, 5.9% APR, your payments could be for 60 months, let's just say $200. I have no idea how accurate that is. That could be completely off. But for an example, so if your car that's $32,000, you would know, okay, I'll pay, a couple more months, or just pay a little more every month. Maybe $205 or something like that. However, with leasing, it's not that way. It has nothing to do with that. And it's weird. It's very, very complicated. For example, a lease for a Mustang, a 2013 Mustang, the offer right now is $299. That's a Mustang based off about $22,000 to $25,000. If you look at the 3 Series at 328, their lease is $399, so $100 more, but the car is valued at $35,000 to $39,000, depending on the MSRP. So you can see that $100 difference is based off maybe $10,000. So it's 10 to 15 actually. So there's no real. It's all based off different things. Leasing, basically, they charge you based on the depreciation value of the car. So if your car has a bad resale value, you charge a lot for your lease, because the dealer, of course, needs to make money off the car. And that's basically how you pay for that. Ooh, there's a 911 behind me. It's a weird blue. We'll see if it passes me or not. I probably will, because I actually drive the speed limit, unlike everyone else. I think I drive the speed limit. I'm glad no one seems to be driving the speed limit anymore. But that's basically what leasing is based off of, and many other things. So you do have to be aware of that. It's, you can't say, well, okay, let's say since this 3 Series is, $400 a month, and that's about $39,000 if I have a Mustang for $39,000, it'd be the same price, not necessarily. So it is very hard to base it up. There it is. You guys probably saw why, because this camera seems to pick up a lot of good things. It looks alright. It's a 996, and I do like the 996 generation, to be honest. I think it got quite a lot of hate on it. And the front end, I do like the 997, definitely the 991 more, but I think it's still a great generation. It's still a fantastic car. And I'm rambling on about way too many things while I'm talking about actual good points in the video. So, yes, I was saying something. I was talking about leasing. It's really, really cold in here. Really, really cold. The weather's been getting colder though, which is nice. So yeah, but so as far as leasing goes, as far as your payments, that is hard to guess. However, generally your lease payments will be cheaper than financing. Duh, because you don't keep the car. So if you look at a car, see the Mustang based off of $22,000, you could have, for 36 months, a 2-9 lease, but for financing for that same time, it could be $600-700. I'm just throwing numbers out here, guys. That could be completely off, but so your leasing is generally cheaper. So what that means, if you do, have $20,000 to spend on a car, you can maybe get something a little nicer, because $20,000 may get you a nice lease on a 3 Series for 3 years, which generally, of course, the car starts at $34,000, and you guys know the BMW, you don't get it for base. So that does mean that you can sometimes get a car that's more expensive than what you can usually afford, which is cool. However, remember to keep in mind that car is not yours by the end of those 36 months. Leasing is, this is kind of a summary, I guess, now. Now I'm passing the 911. Oh, he's turning as well. Basically, it's a summary, I already mentioned that. Leasing is interesting, for some people. Other people, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you do switch your cars a lot, leasing is not a great idea, because you are basically, like if you have a phone contract, locked in for that amount of time. And if you do cancel your lease at any time, they do charge you a very, very hefty fee. So if you're just someone who changes your car every year or so, leasing will not be good for you, because you're stuck with it for as long as the lease term is, generation. Which I said is usually around 2 to 3 years. Generally, leasing is shorter, too. Remember, keep that in mind, guys. There's not very, 72-month long leases. They generally usually are 36. the longest I've seen is 42 or 48. But look around. Definitely. This video is going by way too long, and it might cut out on me. So, yeah, guys, there's some things I touched up on. Obviously, I skipped a ton of few because I was busy rambling on about a 911 and the weather. So yeah, guys, if you liked the video, please hit like or favorite, and for more videos of me, push subscribe. Soon in November is the annual South Florida International Auto Show. I will definitely be there to cover that event. I did last year, as I do every year, but I only took video last year. Of course, I'll be covering that and showing you guys all that footage later on. And yeah, see you guys next week. Bye.